Hi everyone, my name is Aneta and welcome to my channel. I've been thinking about what to create for this video. Making something complex and unrelated to this festive season doesn't feel right, since most people are busy buying gifts and focusing on this time of the year. At the same time, I don't have the energy for a big project. The past few months have been challenging and I feel drained. It's not over yet. We'll be visiting family over Christmas, which will be an intense time with lots of travel since we live far from the airport. Right now, I feel the need to rest, so I opted this time for something smaller on a A4 format with a wintry vibe. And while painting, I'll share some thoughts on what I've been up to lately and how I'm preparing for the new year. So I hope you'll enjoy the process and make yourself comfortable. December has been a month of reorganizing and resetting for me. I've been tidying up my studio and revisiting my watercolor palettes, and honestly, I don't know why I hadn't done this sooner. The process of taking inventory was unexpectedly therapeutic. It sparked fresh ideas and felt both fun and inspiring. I initially planned a video about my favorite art supplies, but now I'm leaning toward creating one about what I'll use in the coming year. This feels more genuine because while I had many favorites this year, none truly stood out. I felt like I was still getting to know my tools, but not enough to form a deep connection with them. When it comes to media, I often combine watercolors with other materials, and I plan to continue this in 2025 because it aligns so well with my artistic approach. That said, some colors in my palettes no longer fit my evolving style. At first, I thought I'd simply accumulated too many. In some ways, that's true. No one really needs an excessive amount. But the real issue wasn't the quantity, it was the lack of organization. Exploring and reorganizing these supplies has given me clarity and excitement for the year ahead. I decided to reorganize my palettes into groups. One is for standard colors and the other is for super granulating ones, which work best as standalone elements rather than heavily mixed. This small adjustment has already made a significant difference. I no longer feel overwhelmed by too many options, and it's easier to focus on creating. I'll probably go into more detail about this in a future video. As I reflect on this year, I've noticed it has been a much better creative year compared to the last one. One realization that stood out for me was learning the value of listening without always trying to relate everything back to myself. Instead, I've been more present in the stories of others. When you truly listen, you often find connections to your own life. It's surprising how many answers or insights are hidden in the experiences of others. There's nothing new under the sun. Sometimes we are just too absorbed in ourselves to notice. At work, I also observed how much interaction happens out of habit rather than genuine interest. Recognizing this freed me from the pressure to please everyone. I started saving my energy for what truly matters, and that sense of freedom has been incredible. This year, I became more intentional about what I consume on platforms like YouTube and social media. There are so many ways to be an artist, and while loud, fast-paced and vibrant content has its appeal, it can feel overwhelming when it doesn't align with your process. This shift helped me reconnect with my creative flow. The noise disappeared and I could appreciate inspirations for what they were. I stopped overthinking the artists behind them, not out of jealousy or negativity, but as a way to quiet my mind and stay focused. Another important step for me this year was shifting my focus toward the kind of art that truly feels right for me, whether it's working on detailed illustrations or exploring ideas that reflect my personal tastes. I've learned to follow what feels natural and enjoyable instead of forcing myself into directions that don't align with who I am. For most of this year, my new so-called messy or ugly sketchbook sat untouched on the shelf. It wasn't that I was avoiding the raw, polished side of quick sketching. I just felt stuck. I didn't know what to draw or what I truly needed from that sketchbook. It was as if I couldn't pinpoint its purpose, leaving me at a standstill. Eventually, I decided to start small. I wasn't trying to fill the pages. I just wanted to see if I could use it in a way that made sense to me. I started making tiny thumbnails, quick, rough sketches that didn't take more than few minutes each. These little drawings gave me a chance to test ideas and explore shapes without worrying about whether they were good enough. They weren't about creating something perfect, they were about experimenting, and that shift made the sketchbook feel much more approachable. At the same time, I started writing in my sketchbook. I'd done this before with my previous one, but this time it felt different, more intense. Honestly, I didn't expect it to be as helpful as it was. I wrote down things like colors that caught my eye, shapes I found interesting, or random ideas that came to mind while I was drawing. Sometimes I reflected on art that inspired me, noting what I liked about it or how it made me feel. Other times I wrote down ideas for future projects, like themes I wanted to explore or techniques I wanted to try. Writing became a way to sort through my creative process, and it really surprised me how much clarity it gave me. It wasn't just about drawing anymore, it was about creating a space where I could collect my thoughts and connect them to my art. This sketchbook has become more of a creative diary than anything else. It's a place where I can brainstorm freely, make mistakes, and explore ideas without judgment. Even though it's still mostly empty, I feel like I finally started using it in a way that works for me. It feels like I've just opened a door to a part of my creative process that I hadn't fully appreciated before, and I'm curious to see where it will take me next year. Looking ahead to 2025, one of my main goals is to work on a long-term project. It doesn't need to have a strict deadline, but it's important for me to have a sense of purpose. Last year, I put too much pressure on myself with self-imposed deadlines, which ended up being counterproductive. Now I'm focusing on making steady progress rather than striving for a quick effect. For example, I've mentioned in one of my videos that I want to create an oracle deck. I want it to be meaningful with carefully curated illustrations, not just rushed for the sake of finishing. This means I need time and the right mindset. Daily work would be ideal, but sometimes I need a break from digital tools like my tablet. Another habit I want to build is daily sketching. Even if it's just for 30 minutes, a little consistency each day adds up over time. And I've noticed how rewarding it feels to see progress in my sketchbook. I'm letting go of the need for perfection and avoiding comparisons with others. Creating a personal space that inspires creativity has also been crucial for me. My art space has evolved significantly this year. Although I share it with my husband, who works from home, I've tailored it to meet my needs. It's not about the size of the space, but how you use it. A well-organized environment gives me a sense of security and focus. Even small things like surrounding yourself with meaningful trinkets or art created by others can spark inspiration. Sometimes I even find joy in looking at my empty palettes, and it makes me smile to think about how artists can find value in the simplest things. Looking back, I've realized how much my mindset has shifted. I've learned to protect my boundaries, focus on what brings me joy, and tune out distractions that don't align with my goals. This clarity has been empowering, and I'm stepping into 2025 with a renewed sense of purpose and excitement for what's to come. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm also wondering, what are your creative goals? And I don't mean New Year's resolutions, I mean things you want to improve on, things you feel are achievable. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to discuss this topic further. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to give a like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.